Hello, in this video we're going to talk about my favorite Grandmaster Tigran Petrosian. He was born on June 17th, 1929 and he died August 13th, 1984. He became the chess world champion in 1963 by beating Mikhail Botvinnik, and he lost it in 1966 to Boris Spassky. He was a candidate for the World Chess Championship 8 times, and he won the Soviet Championship 4 times. He was born in Tiflis, which is now Tbilisi in Georgia. At that point part of the Soviet Union, from two Armenian parents. So we pulled the map of Georgia here. So it is bordered by Russia, Azerbaijan, which is where Garry Kasparov was born, Armenia, which is where Levon Aronian was born, and Turkey. And Tbilisi is right here. So at this point, Russia back then was called the USSR, controlled pretty much all of this territory, and this is also during World War II. So his parents were Armenian, and because of this, he is claimed by both Armenia and Georgia, and he's considered a national hero for both countries. So I put up here the national flag of Georgia and Armenia. So he learned to play chess at the age of 8, 2 years before the start of World War II. And unfortunately, he became an orphan due to the war and was forced to sweep streets to earn a living. And it was around this time that he started to develop a hearing problem. He was very poor, and he used his rations to buy Chess Praxis by Aram Nimzovich, a very strong book from a very strong positional player. He first wrote My System, which explains a lot of the positional terms that we use nowadays, such as knight outpost, a rook on the 7th if you're white, or the 2nd if you're black. So rook on those ranks. And he's a very influential player. And so there's no wonder that Petrosian got his positional play from this legend by reading Chess Praxis. He had the greatest influence on Petrosian. At 12 years old, he started training at the Tiflis Palace of Pioneers under Arkil Eberlich. This is Arkil right here on the left. And it's unfortunate that he's been widely forgotten in the chess world. But he was pretty decent player at this time. Arkil supported Nimzovich in Capablanca, and his scientific approach to chess discouraged wild tactics and dubious combinations. As a result, Petrosian developed a repertoire of solid positional openings such as the Carol Khan. After training at the Palace of Pioneers for 1 year, he defeated visiting Soviet Grandmaster Selov at a simultaneous expedition. So he was a very gifted player, and we're going to take a look at this game. Keep in mind that this was played in 1942, and opening theory wasn't developed, and there was definitely no computers, so people had to discover these moves on their own. So Petrosian was white, and he played d4. Black responded with knight f6, c4, d takes, e5, d takes e5, knight g4, e4, h5. It's like this move is not needed. Black can just take on e5. White plays h3, knight e5, bishop e3, knight c6, knight c3, bishop b4, queen d2, stopping the pin. Well, he created another pin, but it's also preparing long castles. d6, f4, knight g6, knight f3, queen e7, bishop d3, f5, sort of exploiting this, the queen being opposite the king. D takes, and now knight f4, making use of the pin. And white responds with long castles. Bishop takes d3, destroying Petrosian's pawn structure. Knight takes d3 check, queen takes d3, bishop d7, rook he1, long castles, bishop g5. So black played a mistake with long castles, and he ran into this. So Petrosian is going to win the exchange now. Queen f7, bishop takes d8, rook takes d8, g4 protecting his f5 point, which is very important because this is a 3 versus 2 majority, which is going to result in a passed pawn for white. Knight a5 attacking c4, queen d5 proposing a queen trade, and directly defending c4 because if he takes the queen, I can play c takes d5. That's what happened. Rook f8, rook e7, a rook on the 7th rank. Very strong for white. g6, giving up a pawn, attacking the knight, but it's not a good move because this pawn is very fast. F takes g6, h takes g4, g7, attacking the rook, rook g8, rook f7, bishop e8. So he stops white's threat with rook e8, with rook f8, but black is still worse. Rook f8, rook takes g7, rook takes e8 check, king d7, rook e3, g takes f3, rook takes f3, knight c4, rook df1, knight e5, rook e3, rook h7, rook f4, c6, c4, king c7, king c2, king b6, d takes c6, b takes c6, king c3, king c5, h4, rook b7, rook g3, a6, h5, rook h7, rook g5, a5, rook f6, rook b7, h6, rook b1, rook h5, rook c2, king d2, rook a1, h7. And black resigned. So a overall clean conversion. White won the exchange and never gave black any chances to catch up. Very clean game. So after this, in 1946, he earned the title of Candidate Master, and he drew against Grandmaster Paul Carey's, at that time one of the top players at the Georgian Chess Championship. So this was his first classical game against a world-class player. And we're going to take a look at it. This is the game. Petrosian was white, and he opened with d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5. This is a Grunfeld defense. g3, bishop g7, bishop g2, d takes d4, knight f3, castle short, c6, knight e5. So both players playing very normal moves. Bishop e3, bishop e6, e4, knight a6, bishop e3, knight e8. He wants to get rid of this knight and possibly maneuver it to a better square. Queen e2, knight d6, rook ad1, queen c8. We're getting out of the line of fire here. a3, f6, knight f3. So black successfully defended his c pawn, and white had to retreat his knight to f3, knight c7, and d5. So d5 is a very strong move, basically like the winning move in this position. So it attacks the bishop, attacks c6, opens up the game. Black has a lot of weaknesses, namely e7, and if e7 falls, then d6 becomes weak. He has already rook on the d file, so it's very, very dangerous for black here. C takes d5, probably not a good move here. I would keep this e file closed. E takes d5, bishop f5, bishop f4, bishop d3. So Petrosian at this point decided to allow bishop d3, and it's something that he is well known to do. The positional sacrifice, and it's not he does it not for a tactic. He does it solely based off the position. So that's what makes him such a great player. It's something that he's well known for. Bishop f4, bishop d3, queen takes e7, rook f7, and so I want you to pause your video and analyze what happens after queen takes d6. What is the response for black? And so after queen takes d6, black plays rook f8, trapping the queen. Yeah, so white played queen e3, bishop takes f1, bishop takes f1, queen d7, bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, knight e4, queen b6, d6, strong move. Attacking the knight is supported by the rook. Rook d7, so making use of the pin. Bishop takes c4 check, king h8, queen takes b6, a takes b6, rook c1, knight e8, bishop b5, winning back the exchange. Knight takes d6, knight takes d6, bishop d3, f5, rook c2, king g8, king f1, bishop f6, knight d2, trying to maneuver the knight, b5, knight b3, king f8, knight c5, king f7, and this is a very bad move. Can you spot the tactic here for white? I'm going to give you a few seconds. So after king f7, the best move for white here is knight takes b7. Because after knight takes b7, rook c7 check. Attacks the king and the knight, and black has to move his king, and then white takes the knight. And black played bishop takes b2, bishop takes b5, bishop takes a3, bishop c4 check, king h8, and h3. This move is probably not needed. I'm guessing that Petrosian wanted a waiting move. It is a pretty dry position. Again, notice how Petrosian has his rook on the 7th. He got that from Nemzovich. Bishop c5, king g2, rook c8, bishop a6. And here they agreed to a draw. So overall, a fine game and an impressive result for Petrosian, being that black is a world-class player, and Petrosian at this point was very young, upcoming player. He is not even a candidate master yet. And yeah, he earned it by and as a result of this game, he became candidate master. Yeah, so this is the early life of Petrosian, and in future videos we're gonna go over his like pretty much the most adventurous part of his career, and then the later life, and yeah, his unfortunate death. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.